At the end of the day, there's two teams that remain. Smash is done. Rocket League is decided, and now at the precipice, only two remain. Cleveland State and Illinois Wesleyan. I am joined yet again by Wub Waffles today for our grand finals for CSU versus Illinois Wesleyan.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here casting this game. I don't quite know what to expect from this. Is it going to be 4 Overwatch? Is it going to be really back and forth? We don't really know. But looking at the bracket, we can see that all the other matches, or almost all the other matches, have been played out here. Most of the placements done here. Just want to point out. Where was it? Saint Xavier. I just want to point this out. In the 5th place match, having a repeat of what they did last night. So Ohio Northern taking 2 maps, St. Xavier taking 2, and then it going down to a final decider control map. Lijiang Tower, with it the last round being 1-1. Unfortunately, St. Xavier losing that, but a very close, very fun match to watch. Also, another thing to note here is Shawnee State taking down Albion in the 7th place match. So a little bit of an upset there. Really, really well done by Shawnee State, 9th seed. 9th seed ending up in 7th place. Also with them 3-0ing the 8th seed Manchester to start out. Yeah. So really well done from Shawnee State.
And it's interesting to think about, right? Because in my opinion, it feels like the bracket is, you've kind of got 2 question marks who are clearly ahead of everybody else. Then it plateaus for 3 or 4 teams, and then it feels like a sort of downward gradient from there. So seeing, Shawnee punch up like that is a huge move from them. But going into this, it's Illinois Wesleyan. They are the 1st seed. They get first map selection. The crowd is getting hype. We're getting hype in here as well. Lijiang Tower, the bands. CSU, they want nothing to do with Juno today, and in Illinois Wesleyan, they banned first. Hazard's gone.
Yeah, so interesting here. We were talking about this before the game. Doesn't seem to be specific, it doesn't seem like these bans came through for any specific comp reasons. Just seems like it's preference, or you just don't want to deal with that character. So I'm interested to see what team comps we're going to see here. So we're going to see Illinois Wesleyan looking like they're going to run. Well, both sides running Lucio Kiri here and Sojourn Symmetra, although we might see the Symmetra swap here once the round starts. But different tanks here.
Yeah, so usually what you see for any new viewers, people who don't watch too much coordinated Overwatch, this is basically a semi-professional level game, I'm going to be honest with you. But the Symmetra, usually you'll see that to start. They're going to TP their team out of spawn. But we're getting started out here, and everybody's getting excited. We're going to see the swaps coming through. It's going to be Genji on each side. But yes, the tanks are different. Alizu is on the Orisa. This is what's been seen a lot in Korea recently. The Soup Cup just finished up last night, where T1 were playing a fair bit of Orisa, and they swept the floor with everybody. The West were just eradicated by T1.
I would have liked to watch some of those matches, but unfortunately I do need to sleep. So,
unfortunately.
Anyways, we're seeing just poking and prodding here at the start. Illinois Wesleyan playing a little bit more aggressively, a little bit more forward. That's going to be a lot of util burn for the Ramatra, but Cleveland State's going to try and walk in on the Orisa, not let them get the initial cap.
They're going to get some touches as well here. Ender's got his toes on, and they're taking some big chip there. It is Ender. He will get topped up. He'll manage to escape. Kuzuryu, rather, is dropping real low. They're going to be able to keep this tank alive. No cap yet.
I think we're probably going to see, oh no, Sojourn Wavy getting the first pick onto the Lucio Cleveland State. And that's the Genji, and all of a sudden Cleveland State is going to fall over here. And Illinois Wesleyan is going to get this first cap here.
It's at least taken a while, so CSU, they don't give away a cap during that fight, so they can take some solace in that. Good play there from Illinois Wesleyan. Wavy with some good shots on the rails. Not just the one that obviously kills I Really Won, but also the one that chunks down Alizu's health bar, right? A big crit onto the tank. Even though crits reduce damage on tanks, even though the armor is there, still a big chunk to help melt through the Orisa.
Yeah, I almost expected that first fight to be decided by ultimates, if I'm being honest with you here.
It was at that pace.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to see Kitsune Rush come up for Mookie here. I think that's the first ult on the board. No, okay, both sides popping Kitsune Rush here, brawling it out on point. Suzu comes out from both sides. No kills just yet, and the Kitsune Rushes are going to fall here pretty soon. That's overclock from Wavy on Illinois Wesleyan. Is that going to be the difference maker? No, that's beat from Cleveland State. Beat from Illinois Wesleyan as well. And the Orisa and Sojourn are going to be the first to fall here for Cleveland State, and that's going to be cleanup time for Illinois Wesleyan.
A bit of a monkey see, monkey do with the Lucios. You see that a lot with where one Lucio will beat, the other one will soon follow, and it just happened to be that Illinois Wesleyan had the ultimate advantage. They had popped the first Kitsune Rush, and then they had one more ultimate. You can think of an ultimate as half a player in these team fights. Whoever has a player advantage, most likely to win. So when you pop 3 ultimates, other team pops 2, you got a player advantage.
And we're going to see Cleveland State get split here a little bit. And no follow-up on that from Illinois Wesleyan, but Cleveland State is going to walk in here quite aggressively. Both tank ults being popped, backlines being run down. That's a Blade in the backline, and both supports are down for Cleveland State, followed shortly by the Sojourn and Genji, and it's just the Orisa left on point. This is really, really bad here, because you're at 85%. You get kind of half a touch here. Half a fight. It
would have been even worse if they staggered Elizu for just a little bit longer, but unfortunately you can't really stagger Orisa. She's just too dangerous. Captain Jr. now with the overclock. Puts a shield in the way and somebody's got to touch. It's going to be, yes, Illinois Wesleyan split, but CSU's attention is split.
Yeah, the touch does come through for Cleveland State. That's going to be the Lucio falling. But I mean, now Cleveland State's going to be forced to walk into this meat grinder. That's Suzu used first by Cleveland State. That's Kitsune Rush from Illinois Wesleyan matched by Cleveland State. The overtime's running down. It almost ends. And it's really not looking good for Cleveland State. That's going to be Genji falling. I think it's just the Sojourn. There we go. And that's the first round secured for Illinois Wesleyan, 100-0.
A small reminder, these teams have not faced each other. We heard a pop-off. It could have been the crowd, but I think it was the players a little bit. You saw them fist bumping and looking a little bit happy about that one. These teams have no idea what the other's bringing to the table. CSU less so, because as somebody who is, in the CSU org, I tried to find VOD footage of Illinois Wesleyan, nowhere to be found. We have our VODs more proudly shared on our YouTube channel and our Twitch, which, maybe not the best competitive decision from us, but
yeah, if you want to see the absolute finest of Plat, Diamond, Collegiate Overwatch, you can hop over to Olivet_esports on Twitch. That is my my office, so to speak.
And now we've got, this is what I expect from CSU. The ball is coming in. This is something that Elizu was talking to me about. I went to see the players, see how they were feeling about this one, because this is an undeniably tough match. Elizu, he is anticipating playing ball. They are anticipating a ball to come through. And this is their secret weapon for tonight.
Yeah, let's see if that can be the difference maker here. Point going to be unlocked in 10 seconds. No kills just yet. That's going to be Ball engaging onto Point, but he falls really low and gets killed immediately. I think Illinois Wesleyan's going to get this first cap. I think Cleveland State has to just leave.
The secret weapon isn't looking as stellar as it could otherwise. The Pharah mirror is something that I find interesting. It makes some sense here, but it's not something you see very often. And another thing that CSU wants to force, you see here, Muhiki on the Ana. This is something that they want to play a lot. It is his best hero, and this is the best player on the team, almost for sure, is Muhiki, and his best character is online.
Beautiful for me to see, but I'm biased in terms of Ana. But we're going to see the Ramatra from Illinois Wesleyan trying to engage onto the bridge here. No picks coming through quite yet. The ball is going to focus Point. Roll through, disruption, no follow-up on that ball slam. That's kind of surprising to me. As somebody who's a part of a team who plays a fair amount of ball comps, I'm kind of surprised we didn't see any sort of follow-up there on that ball engage.
It comes a little bit down to the composition. Usually CSU, they do have Ender as their flex DPS, so he is their Tracer player. Junior mostly plays the hit scan, so they don't opt for the Tracer on this map, which means that you don't have as much follow-up as you otherwise might want with these ball engages.
Yeah, but then I fail to see where the win condition is for Cleveland State. If you don't have follow-up on the ball engages, why play the ball? That's going to be Kitsune Rush from Illinois Wesleyan here. A Nano Boost from Cleveland State onto the Pharah. Ball falling very low, forced to retreat, and that's a Kiriko pick onto Illinois Wesleyan. That's really, really big. And that's a trade onto Ender on the Pharah. That's your only ult on the board eliminated here for Cleveland State. I think that takes the teeth out of this push, but looks like they're going to keep trying to push it.
They're at least going to shove Kuzuru out of position, and they will find a kill on it. It's a trade, though. The Nirulu-1 finds the Pharah. That barrage done. They will force an ultimate, and they will not be rewarded. A Kiriko delivered into their hands. Will they be able to find these stagger kills as they cap?
This is getting really scrappy, really going down to the wire here. Cleveland State is going to find the cap and going to find a fight win here, but you have to win pretty much every fight here from here on out with Illinois Wesleyan at 82%.
You have a one-fight buffer at the very least. 82%, that's plenty of time to go back in. But Elizu has been so meddled by these vortexes.
Okay, we're gonna see Kitsune Rush here. or not Kitsune Rush, overclock. And there's nobody there, and then Beat just covers that. That overclock gets 0 value here.
It found Muhi, or Ender rather. I don't know how, like, the overclock was popped, and then a few seconds later, Ender falls.
I didn't see that.
It's just shocking in or Wavy rather. He's gonna find 2 with the rails.
Really big plays here from the Illinois Wesleyan Sojourn. And yeah, I think you have to retreat. If this ball gets staggered, that would be really, really bad. Then the Pharah ult gets 2 from Cleveland State. They might have just turned this fight. That's a really big ultimate. The Kirikos fall soon after. I think Ramatra's gonna fall, and they're just gonna take the point flip here.
It's not pretty though. They had to really scrap. They had to really fight for it. It only cost them a barrage that fight. But every resource is pivotal from this point moving forward. EXO now done with the Pharah themselves. They want the Tracer. They switched a little while ago, but this will be good to help meddle with Alizu's engages.
Yeah, we're gonna see a nano boost onto the Pharah once again, the Pharah, and this is kind of best case scenario. Lucio falls early to the ball, and the Pharah is just getting to shoot. Oh, but the Tracer is gonna take down the Pharah, take down Ender. I think it's even right now.
It's a good flank there from EXO. Angle control is pivotal on Tracer, and that's what we like to see from them. Massive damage onto Muhiki. He's going to survive thanks to the healing from OW1. They are able to slow things down here, and Alizu, he's looking for the engage.
Kitsune Rush there from Muki. They're going to walk onto point. Beat pops, so double support all from Indiana Wesleyan, but no kills coming through, and in fact, Lucio's going to get picked first here from Cleveland State. Tracer slept. I think that's going to be a kill onto the Tracer. That's 2 picks. You're up for Cleveland State. And you win this fight. And I think you win this point because Illinois Wesleyan does not get another good fight here.
It was sloppy, but it was done. Sir will come back, but IRelia1 might be able to cover it with the boop. No, they're not even going for it. Wait, what is that? Why didn't they go for it?
I don't know. The Ramatra just jumps off the map.
So that makes some sense, right? You don't want to get staggered too hard. You want to try to reset.
Lucio!
Yes,
Lucio! My dog, Lucio!
But it makes some sense, right? You don't want to get staggered too much if you're the tank there, so you just jump off. I'm confused why. I guess they didn't think that the point was capped that far. I guess they thought they had more time.
So you're saying the Lucio should have touched there?
Yeah, you have no other option.
Yeah.
It's either give up the round, guaranteed, or play it out and try to get a touch.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why that happened. To his credit, we did switch back to his POV after he was already walking back to spawn. He might have seen something that we didn't see, or there might have been some sort of comm that we didn't hear. So to his credit, it might not have been his fault. But either way, what's done is done. Cleveland State taking that round, taking us to 1-1 on the first map.
One small thing I love about this Pharah ball composition and why I think it's really started to tick a little bit more recently is the concussive blast knockback reversion perk, allowing you to suck people into where that ball wants to pile drive. The big weakness of pile drive, especially with the time extended perk, is that it takes too long to land down. That Pharah perk extends that time just enough.
Yeah, well, and it allows you to get more people in the center of that slam, which is just really, really brutal. The Cassidy Wavy is trying to take down the Pharah here, but the Ana's gonna fall first for Cleveland State.
They get so much pressure here, and yeah, this should be a fight win. They might be able to trade one, but Alizu and Ender are not enough. They did get a cap, so you have some consolation there, but ain't much.
Oh wow, and Cleveland State's keeping the pressure on here. And I think they almost get the Kiriko. That would have been a pretty big pick there. But alas, Illinois Wesleyan holding on and now controlling the point and taking up.
Yeah, and it was a silent 1v1 on the side. EXO managed to defeat Ender in that one, switching back over to the Pharah. No more Tracer. Not in vogue right now. Alizu taking so much punishment. Can't risk going too far right now. He needs to back up to his team.
Oh, they're going to try and engage onto the Ramatra here. That's a purple. Suzu used. It's a lot of resources out of Illinois Wesleyan.
Love the kite, though. They give up so much space because they absolutely have to, and they're totally happy to do so as long as they got point control. This point is going to tick further and further. This brawl comp really, really thrives on that.
Ball engaging here, taking a lot of pressure here. Not quite dying just yet, but that is quite a lot of resources out. I think they're just going to go again, see if they can fish for any picks.
I mean, the pressure is mounting here. The point is ticking up 54%. Now, you got to find a real fight at some point. The cast not off the map yet.
That would have been a really good pick there. And Captain Junior taking out Wavy. A Kitsune Rush is popped for Illinois Wesleyan. Mines on the point. No other picks coming through just yet. No point flip coming through. That's Ramatra using ult. Beat coming out for Cleveland State. It's a 3-man beat. and Illinois Wesleyan kites back to point, but now Cleveland State's going to walk in. They nano the Pharah. Both Pharahs using ults and getting a lot of value here, but Ender just getting a little bit more, getting 3 in this fight, and that's going to lead to a flip here for Cleveland State.
It's at 86%. This is where things get tight. That magic percent is around 85, 86 for trying to get a recontest afterwards. That first cap, though, that CSU got is now paying off so hard. If they didn't get that cap, they're sitting at 93%. They are must win every fight. Now they can have the leeway of losing one fight if they're able to reset.
Yeah, they can lose a fight, but it has to be quick. But they get the kill onto Wavy. That's a really big pick. That's going to take a lot of the teeth out of this Illinois Wesleyan push right here. And they might get the Ramatra too as a bonus. That's Sojourn all pop for Captain Junior. I don't know how I feel about that.
So Elisa was going low there, so I think he felt pressured into doing it to try to protect his tank, to try to slow down the engage. I don't think it was a great ult, but I do think that it was something that he felt he had to do.
Yeah, and we're going to see Sojourn going very low. That beat pop for Illinois Wesleyan, 5-man beat. They're going to walk onto point, and the Ana for Cleveland State's going to get dropped immediately. A trade onto the Lucio, ball gets dropped. A trade onto the Pharah, it's going back and forth. Who's going to win this? Illinois Wesleyan gets the flip, and it's just the Pharah left for Cleveland State. They got to leave immediately.
And he doesn't have the one downside of this perk is that Conch Blast cannot be used for mobility. He's going to find a way to stall up on these roofs. It's going to give him enough time, and now he's going to find some poke.
And the ball engages here. This is going to be a nasty barrage potentially.
The Vortex sucks him down. He can't find anything. It's some damage, and it might be good enough. It's 2 for 2.
And we're hearing the players get loud out there, but it looks like Illinois Wesleyan's going to take this, just barely clutching up that last fight and taking the first map.
Well played from them in map 1, but it's close. It doesn't look like it will be a complete sweep at the very least. There is some fight in CSU. There is some bite with their bark. They're not just here to play. They are here to really fight for this one.
So we're going to see play the game by Ender here on Pharah. I am curious, looking at this next map, you don't have to reveal any strats, but do you think... Oh, the Lucio just straight up turned around there.
Yeah.
We saw that in the play of the game. Wow. Anyways, but you don't have to reveal any specific strats, but do you think that there's any specific map picks or bans that Cleveland State's going to go with to try and force?
They want ball. I think based on what we saw especially, they want to play Wrecking Ball. I'm looking at Esperanza, Paricio, or not Paricio, Rudasapi. I'm looking at Push. Push is the mode that I think favors CSU the most, but I think they want to save Push until they can get that ball ban forced. If they can force Illinois Wesleyan to ban away Wrecking Ball, then they have a clear shot to get a map win on Rudasapi, Esperanza, even Coliseo if they think that's worthy of pick. You're not going to see New Queen Street because nobody likes that map, but it is good for ball, so maybe there's a chance for it.
Yeah, I think that's interesting to hear that you think that they're going to play ball, and I look forward to seeing that. Do you think there's going to be any sort of target bans on supports or DPS to try to enable the ball, or do you think they're just going to do a tank ban to protect?
I think that it's more likely that they want, again, I think they want to bait. Right now, they want to go to a payload map or a hybrid map, something that ball is okay on. I'm thinking like a Dorado. I'm thinking like a Root. Even, it could be a Blizzard World. We've seen a lot of Blizzard World. It could be that. I think that you have a few options and you want to bait that ball ban. I think you want to get, Illinois Wesleyan sees the ball as a threat now. And I think that you want to keep that as a threat in the back pocket. And if they don't ban ball now, you pick a map where ball is good but not great, where that silver bullet really is push. And then you play for a future down the line where you have that ball still on the table. So I think this is, my best guess would be Dorado. My best guess is CSU would probably try to ban a Tracer because I think they want to play Genji. They want to play Pharah. They want to play their flex DPS on the carry DPS and not really on the supportive DPS. And Junior has put a lot of work into Tracer, but it's not quite up to snuff at this level.
All right, well, let's shift gears and talk a little bit about Illinois Wesleyan. So we saw, I believe, a lot of Ramatra there out of them in that map. And it was a hazard ban there from Cleveland State, right?
No, it was the Juno ban from CSU. It was hazard ban from Illinois Wesleyan,
Okay.
which makes sense for if they're going to be playing this brawly style. That's another thing I heard, that Illinois Wesleyan likes to play brawl. They want to play brawl. They want to play Ramatra, Reinhardt. That's their style that they want to go with. And so it doesn't do great into the ball, which is why I think that we haven't seen it yet. Ramatra does very well into the ball. I could see CSU going for that as their ban because of how well Ramatra does. And it, kind of blocks the tank ban. Then again, there's still Queen. Queen is really good into ball, so there's no real surefire shot on the tank roll for CSU. But Illinois Wesleyan, they want to play the brawl. They want to sit on point, and they want to just force the fight onto them.
So do you think we're going to see Ramatra out of them again, or do you think CSU is going to try and ban that?
I think it's most likely that CSU don't want to ban tank here. If they go on to something like Dorado, if they go on to something like Root, I think that they want to save a tank ban to, again, bait out that ball ban. I think that's the most likely scenario here for CSU.
Alrighty. We're kind of talking in circles a little bit here, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think they're going to ban Ramatra because that blocks the ball.
All right,
like, they want the ball to be banned now.
Do we have any comms on bans?
1 second.
Okay, so we get CSU picking Suravasa and banning Kiriko, and Illinois Wesleyan responding by banning Queen.
That makes sense. So Queen is just very strong in Suravasa, right? So that makes sense for the ban there. And you don't go push here, which is the decision that I said I wanted CSU to go for. I don't want you to go push yet. And Illinois Wesleyan, I really like that ban, actually. They banned away the Queen. It stifles anything that CSU want to do in that style. And they play a good Queen, I will say. Like, Elysiu has a good Queen on him. That's a style that they've been practicing quite a bit, and it's really good on Suravasa in particular. So I think that banning it away makes a lot of sense. Good ban for Illinois Wesleyan. That's what I really like to see. And then it was the Kiriko ban, right, for CSU was? So we're most likely going to see some Juno Brig. I think Juno Brig is on the table for this map.
Okay. That'll be really interesting to see. In all the games I've watched so far in this tournament, I've not seen a whole lot of that backline.
It could be Lucio with the Juno, but...
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, CSU want to force Ana. They really want to force Ana. I think that's what this Kiriko ban is telling me, that they want Ana, because it is, again, Mohiki's best hero.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, we aren't quite getting into the game yet, but as we can see, if you're just joining us, Illinois Wesleyan, Illinois Wesleyan, I'm getting confused. Illinois Wesleyan taking the first map, Lijiang Tower, 2-1, and Cleveland State responding with a Suravasa pick. So...
Yeah, and I expect CSU, without the Queen on the table, they're probably going to go with the Orisa. I like Orisa into Ramatra. I personally hate Orisa into Ramatra on a personal, philosophical level. But I think that is a good matchup to be playing into. I could see Illinois Wesleyan playing the Orisa themselves. Don't expect to see Reinhardt quite yet, because Reinhardt has a very, very rough matchup into Orisa.
Yeah, some Reinhardt in the year of our Lord 2025 would be crazy to see, but I'm here for it.
I mean, it's something that Illinois Wesleyan likes. They like to play the Reinhardt. The only problem is Reinhardt's not in the best state right now. Reinhardt has to be balanced for like the very low ranks to a certain extent, where if he's good in high ranks, he dominates like gold, like silver.
Yeah.
Like the fresh players that are in sort of the lower ranks. So he's not very good in coordinated play. That's why you see Ramatra instead a lot of the time, because Ramatra fills that niche. But he would be playable if Orisa wasn't playable, is kind of the thing with Reinhardt. Like, it's just genuinely such a hard counter matchup that
that's fair.
It's just tough there. It looks like we're about to be heading into the game.
Yep, we are getting into the game right now. So excited to be here, excited to see what this match has in store for us. And if you're out in the crowd, go ahead and get loud. We're getting into the next game here.
They didn't do anything.
Yeah, they didn't do anything. We can hear you guys, right?
Yeah. Maybe they all just fell asleep. Maybe they're all in the bathroom.
Alrighty, well, we're going to see character picks here in about 5 seconds.
I mean, this could be ball. This could be ball. I'm not sure if I expect it. Okay, it's going to be... They are forcing this. And look, Illinois Wesleyan are on the Brig Juno. This is kind of what I expect. It is a very traditional backline. Brig is really good into ball as well. So if you know that CSU are going to be forcing the ball at this position, sir, going over to the Brig is a very good call from them. And Brig has no better flex support to play with, flex support in quotes, than Juno. So this makes a lot of sense for the Illinois Wesleyan backline.
Is Juno considered a flex or a main support?
Juno is considered Juno.
Fair enough.
She can fulfill those flex support duties and also those main support duties. I say she's more of a flex support, but it's really like, I would say like it's opinionated. It's an opinion basis.
Okay. Well, we're going to see both teams fighting over the same part of the map. I don't think they've quite scouted the ball yet. Okay, they definitely know it now. Ball is going to engage here. Genji's going to dive in. The brig falling very low. Fight devolving, getting really scrappy here. And no picks coming through quite yet. Point is unlocked. It looks like Illinois Wesleyan's going to move and try and cap point. Alizu falling really low. Forced out, and Illinois Wesleyan's going to get the first cap here.
You don't necessarily need kills on the ball composition. Most of the time, you're just looking for some damage and some focus fire. Maybe a key cooldown or two. This could be the ring. This could be like Sojourn Slide to follow through on the second engage. And you really just want to stifle things.
And Genji falling first here on Illinois Wesleyan. And another pick coming through on Wavy. He gets traded out, but you're still up. Cleveland State trying to close this one out, but they're getting pressured back.
Still the support stands right next to Kuzuryu, so they will be kept alive for now. The tank is... It's just so annoying just watching Alizu butt bump the Ramatra like 3 times to try to boop him into the team. Like, get over there, please.
But slowly but surely, Cleveland State is going to make their way to point and attempt to flip it. Looks like right now they're just trying to hold their ground. And Illinois Wesleyan's aware of this. They're going to walk up and try and fish for a pick, I think.
Kuzuryu was just able to stall the backline for Cleveland State for just long enough to where they couldn't do anything. Nanoboo's now on Ender. This has to win the fight.
He doesn't have dash here. And they're just going to use Ray from Illinois Wesleyan. Ball goes in to try and counter that. And Lucio on Cleveland State pops B. But no picks coming through for these two ultimates that you just used.
Be able to find Sir eventually. Ender at 23 HP. He's got to be kept alive. He knows where the Mega is. He's going to sneak down like a rat and just get under there. The point is so close to capping, but the overtime wick is so close to fading.
And that's a kill onto the Genji and Sojourn, and I think that's going to be Cleveland State cleaning this one up. Ball gets traded, but I think you're just all out of players to touch the point here.
Yeah, no DPS passive. It gets so much more difficult to kill targets who are being healed by these supports, specifically Ana, a little bit Lucio. Good fight there from Cleveland State. They do take a little bit too long, but they're able to eventually wiggle their way through, and Ender, it came down to the nano boost not really finding a lot, but instead it had to be Alizu. Overclock now for Junior.
Okay, Captain Junior using the first overclock. Wavy eventually matching, and Wavy getting the better of Captain Junior there. That's going to be Blade coming out for Ender, immediately dying. Rally being popped by Sir. And I think that's a flip back for Illinois Wesleyan.
Are they going to get the cap? This is going to be first point heading over the side of IW or ILWU. Why is it not just IWU?
Because there's Indiana Wesleyan.
Oh.
IWU.
I see. I don't know schools.
I know a few.
I've heard of a school or two. I just don't know which ones.
Yeah.
Minefield online for CSC. They really invested to try to clutch that fight from the losing side, right? Use an ultimate to try to bring things back. The overclock didn't do great, and then Ender ended up popping the Blade to try to find something, but he just can't.
We're going to see Illinois Wesleyan getting the positional priority here, at least first one to point. And that's pretty good for them because they can just sit on point, wait for Cleveland State to walk towards them. Never mind, they're going to go in. That's a Blade from Exo. Gets one, gets two. May get a third here. Not quite, but he does get the 3K, and that's going to secure the fight win for Illinois Wesleyan. They're going to get the cap here pretty soon and get to set up wherever they want to here on point.
He almost just dashed on the minefield. And you're seeing a clever little strategy here. Kuzuryu is just walking into the minefields to give a little bit more ult charge over to Mookie and a tiny bit over to Sir. That orbital ray now online thanks to the minefields. It's a real Achilles heel of that ultimate.
Yeah. That and Brig can pop rally off, or inspire off the mines.
Yep.
Which is an interesting little tidbit. So we're going to see double support ults from both sides. Nano Boost for Cleveland State and Orbital Ray for Illinois Wesleyan. But Kuzuryu, crucially here with the ult advantage here, having his ult online.
Only the Nano Boost, yeah. It's going to be tough. And then engage in the back line. Elizu, his health bar is dropping so low, double digits, and gone is just as fast.
Yeah, Exo clears him out pretty quickly. The Ray comes out, and I think that's going to be the nail in the coffin here for Cleveland State. I think Illinois Wesleyan just wins that one. Yeah. So they're able to win that with just Orbital Ray, and they're able to get Nano Boost out. So that puts you in a really good position where you still have your Ramatra ult, which, to be fair though, the Lucio for Cleveland State does have beat here.
They don't touch.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't even notice that. The point gets to 100 and there's no touch comes through, and the stagger there onto the ball.
This is a dominant map right now for Illinois Wesleyan. If you're CSU, this is not feeling great. Illinois Wesleyan, though, they are feeling on fire right now. The map 1 looked a bit tough. It looked like there was going to be some fight here, but map 2, no fight to be found so far.
Yeah, so far very, very dominant. I mean, we've just seen, it feels like every time we look, Illinois Wesleyan just has a better ult bank than Cleveland State. I don't think they've ever had the ult advantage here. I think they might have had it once during first point.
I mean, Minefield soon to be online, and they have that Dragon Blade overclock early for Wavy. They're going to try to find some early picks and prevent this even from being a real touch.
Yeah, I think Cleveland State's going to mostly just kite. No, and Rally gets popped by Sir, but the beat's used for Cleveland State, and Blade, I think they're going to get one. They're going to get another onto the Genji. And this might, oh, and okay, a Ramatra ult popped here for Illinois Wesleyan. This is getting really scrappy, really close. This is going to come down to the wire. Ender dies. And the longer this fight goes on, the better it is for Illinois Wesleyan, as they currently control the point. The Ramatra's going to walk in, gets slept. Ana gets really low. Nade popped, and Ana dies with Nano Boost there.
Yeah, they just have to reset. It was one small critical mistake. Ender now switching over to the far. He might have recognized it. He had the Dragon Blade up. You saw he tried to sneak in 2 slashes onto Kuzuryu, but he didn't have the time for it. So instead he woke up the Ramatra desynced from his team, and he didn't even get any extra damage. And just the Ramatra able to survive, pop the ultimate, and it was just a bit of miscommunication from Cleveland State.
Yeah, really unfortunate to see, as that fight looked really, really promising for them. But now you're on last fight territory, potentially last fight of the map. Now, admittedly, they have Nano Overclock, which is absolutely ridiculous.
And they're going to pop it too.
No Nano Boost, just a dry Overclock. And they're going to jockey for positioning here on point. That's going to be Blade and Ray for Illinois Wesleyan, going really aggressive here. Nano Boost popped onto the fair, but it doesn't matter. She just gets taken out, and it's looking really dire here for Cleveland State. And yeah, that's going to be last point, 100-0, 3-0 on the map, and 2-0 on the series for Illinois Wesleyan.
It don't get much better than that from Illinois Wesleyan. That is an exceptional performance there, an exceptional shutout from them. Looking really, really good. They do really just look like, reminder, this team has not dropped a map. They could be going in for a true golden stage at this point. If they win this one, without dropping a map, they will never have dropped a map in their entire GLEC existence for Illinois Overwatch.
I mean,
State.
At that point, bro, get these guys a contract. I
mean, there's a reason these guys are top 32 in the nation for Collegiate Overwatch, arguably top 16. Like, they are an exceptional, exceptional team.
Really, really fun to watch this squad here. And I know we had a match against Illinois Wesleyan in the regular season, and yeah, I definitely know what it feels like to just be getting beat down in a lobby like this. I understand.
Yeah, it's just tough. It's one of those matches where, like, when there was a joke that I heard, I don't remember who said it. I think it was one of the players. I don't remember who it was, but somebody said that when they heard that Illinois Wesleyan joined GLEC, they were like, well, there goes the Overwatch title. And that map looked like that kind of expectation had been fulfilled. It looked like Illinois Wesleyan really were just the team. They're the guys. Like, my pronouns are he because I'll never be him type of deal.
Yeah. I mean, it really was a dominant shutout there, that second map. We saw signs of life there in that first map, Cleveland State taking one of those control points and getting a fair amount of percentage, but there on Suravasa, there was not much percentage to be found.
Yeah. They got like 70, I think, on one of the points, and then they got mostly shut out on the second and then entirely shut out on the third. It's a hard knock life for them.
Yeah.
In that one.
But these are the moments where champions are made. Are we going to see Cleveland State fall 4-0, or are they going to start clawing their way back into the series? We're going to find out here in not too long.
Yeah, it's like at this point in time, Saravasa was your map pick as CSU, right? That's a map that you think that you can win. You're maybe trying to bait out that ball ban earlier, like I said. You're maybe not trying to let it go to push or payload or hybrid. Maybe those are not the game modes you feel best in at this moment. Maybe you're also just testing the waters on Saravasa, right? Because Saravasa is a very common scrim map. It's just generally very popular. So going into that map, CSU are going to have the inherent disadvantage if they're relying on, cheesier strats. They're pre-selected compositions that can, wiggle around and outmaneuver Illinois Wesleyan rather than facing them in the mirror, which it looked okay, right? They didn't play a true mirror yet. They have yet to touch Ramatra, even though I think that's one of Elizu's best characters next to the ball. It's been Orisa or Ball or nothing. Like, that's really been their tank selection.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised they haven't even touched Ramatra. Like,
yeah.
And I will say, on that note, we're not getting Kings Row this series. I hope not. Nobody was hoping for Kings Row. I'm not, because I hate that map, which is blasphemous for a main tank player. But I'm Winston. What can I say?
Yeah, that's fair. Although a Kings Row being played more and more as a dive map in recent times,
True.
Which is really interesting to see, because over here in NA, we've historically loved to play Brawl. Reinhardt, especially on Kings Row, Scrims Row, as I've often heard it called. It's interesting to see, maybe if not so much here in NA, in other regions, like Korea, EMEA, seeing a lot more dive played on that map.
Yeah.
So I feel like it could be an interesting map pick, but yeah, probably unlikely here. Because if you want to play a dive map, why go Kings Row? Go Dorado. Go Gibraltar. Even
Blizzard World even.
Yeah, if you need to play hybrid, go Blizzard World. But we are going to see the picks and bans come through. We're going to see CSU pick Route 66 and ban Lucio. Well, Illinois Wesleyan banning
nothing yet.
A white box.
We have no ban for Illinois Wesleyan at the moment. To be determined. Yep, as I had assumed. But Route 66 makes sense, right? If you're going to you want somewhere to play ball, this should be a ball ban. Honestly, for Illinois Wesleyan, it'd put you to match point, unless CSU put a lot of scrim time into the Hazard meta. With Hazard ban off the cards, we could see Hazard come in, right? That is another one of Elizu's good characters. I could see it. And the other thing about the Kings Row Winston, it's kind of why you see so much ball from this team, is because Elizu doesn't play a ton of Winston. It's okay, but this team would almost always rather play ball. And Winston is a necessity if you're playing Kings Row Dive, because it's more of a Kings Row poke with Winston as a tank who can disengage and punish supports. Like punish a Kiriko, punish an Ana, which is where you would usually see the dive, is you would see them play. It's going to be the ball. Makes total sense. You needed to force that at some point, and this is finally where you get that across.
I'm curious about this Lucio ban. Do you think they're trying to force them, if they want to play Brawl, onto a Juno?
Well, I would argue, and I think that this is not a hot take among the team, that I really want's best hero is Lucio. CSU want to play Lucio. They played exclusively Lucio so far. Illinois Wesleyan pulled out Break and Lucio, so they're clearly more comfortable on other support options. I think Illinois Wesleyan, they might be forcing the Brawl mirror. They might be trying to with a Break Juno. This could be forcing a dive as well. They might be forcing a traditional Winston Break on a dive.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
CSU are actually kind of okay in that situation. I would expect Elizu to be on Diva, not Winston, though. But if that happens, in this situation, Ball is gone, Lucio is gone, you're probably seeing Brigana. It was CSU that banned the Lucio, so that makes less sense. I really one does have a Brig at the very least, so Brigana is almost certainly what's on the cards.
Yeah, Cleveland State banning the Lucio does make less sense, yeah, because we've already, like you said, we've already seen Illinois Wesleyan have a very flexible backline here.
They're just trying to force Ana. That's what they told me. They want to ban things to force Ana. This is where that's coming to a head.
That makes sense, yeah. So we're not quite loaded into the lobby yet, but hopefully we're going to be getting in there soon.
just a minute. It takes the players a second to fully ready up. They need a second to breathe. They need a second to get their hand warmers because it is a little bit chilly. It's not super cold, but it's a bit chilly.
I clearly don't have that problem. I'm wearing
You're wearing shorts, right? Sorry, I'm from the warm states. I'm from where the sun exists.
Yeah, no, I'm an Illinois native. Like, it's wind and snow. That's it.
I'm from Virginia. Northern Virginia, where the humidity is 500%. You can swim in the air. You feel you're drowning in just the air. But it looks like we're loading into the map, so we should be heading over there shortly to show you guys what's going on. Route 66, yet again. One more quick reminder on bans. Cleveland State want nothing to do with Lucio. Illinois Wesleyan have finally gotten rid of the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, and if Cleveland State wins this could be a real turning point for this map.
This is not real, by the way. This is not real.
I don't get debated by these picks. They're in spawn. They're going to switch. But this could be a real turning point for Cleveland State because, like you said, we get the ball ban out. They finally baited that out. And so now, they're clearly very comfortable on the ball. If they win this map, suddenly they get momentum moving forward, and the ball is still on the table. And like you said, I Rule You won? Really good Lucio, right?
I think he said that he's okay with being I Rule or Rule.
I Rule. Okay. Either way, you said he's a really good Lucio, right?
He's a very good Lucio. He has a good break. So fun fact, when I was on this team, I Really Won was my main sport. Jose, my GOAT. I love the guy. I brought in a coach who was a former Tier 2 player. And he wasn't really a Tier 2 player. He likes to call himself that, but I'm not going to let him get away with that on this broadcast when he's not even here. But he was a brick specialist, and he gave I Really Won a ton of coaching on the brick, so that was really his first character that he got really good with. It's just been surpassed by his Lucio.
Got it. Well, I was going to say that they get the Lucio ban out, but no, they didn't. I forgot. So, anyways, we're going to see more or less a dive mirror here. We're going to see Illinois Wesleyan on the Winston, Cleveland State on the Hazard, and the Hazard getting pressured there, getting really low. Not quite dying, but the car is going to continue to march forward for Cleveland State.
I like the Hazard pick here. It makes total sense. Again, they were pretty good at this meta. Not stellar, but they were getting pretty good at it towards the second half of it. And Hazard is very good on Route 66 in particular. This is a very meticulous selection that they've gotten through this with, where ball is almost a required ban at some point, but Hazard's still good here.
Yeah. Well, the cart currently stalled out. Both teams jockeying for control of the top of gas station. Illinois Wesleyan gonna opt to, at the moment, okay, now the Winston dives in there, jockeying a little bit. No deaths so far, I think, in this round.
Yeah, it's been very slow. CSU are happy to take a slow first point, and Illinois Wesleyan are welcome to charge up their ults, and there goes Mohiki.
But trades are positive for Cleveland State. Looks, they're currently winning this fight. The Hazard goes down, but you're just on Brig and Winston. But I suppose for Illinois Wesleyan, those are the two you want left alive to control this point. Winston, if he survives long enough, which he doesn't, I was going to say he would get Primal. But yeah, and they take out the Brig and the Winston, and that's going to be first point cap for Cleveland State with 4.5 minutes left.
Renewed vitality can be heard in the arena right now. This is at least the people from CSU who aren't playing right now are pretty happy about that one. Dragon Blade Rally, so many ultimates. CSU close to the golden row. If they're able to just wait a second before using any ultimates, they'll have everything.
The ult economy in a much better state for Cleveland State here. Wait, because Illinois Wesleyan used Nano and lost the fight.
Yep.
Which is just wild. Bob being thrown onto point for Illinois Wesleyan. Illinois Wesleyan must realize they're in an ult deficit, so they just want to go first. Pulse Bomb used onto Hazard. That's probably a fight win here. But it's expensive because you would expend 2 ults in your already pretty bad ult bank.
Yeah, now they'll only have the Primal and the Rally. Granted, Primal and Rally can absolutely just stifle an engage before it can even begin. CSU, they aren't going to be able to get this overclock online as long as Kazuria has the Primal on the dock.
Yeah, both teams fighting for control of this choke. Satellite Vector out first for Cleveland State. Rain out. I think they're going to try and melt the Winston. Big Force out Primal. But still no picks coming through. That's Rally. That's Rally for Cleveland State.
Now it's matched.
Yep, now it's matched. We hear callouts happening. Juno for Cleveland State, the first one to fall. Everybody fighting in this little corner of the map. Sir traded for I Rule You. Point stalls out now. I think this is going to favor Illinois Wesleyan on the defense.
Yeah, Cleveland State aren't going to be able to do anything from this position. Muhiki, I don't know why he's dying in that position. He goes a little bit too far, I think, and just gets punished. Elizu is still trying to hold some space and force some positioning. He won't be able to do so successfully, at least for now.
Okay, we're going to hear Overclock come out from Captain. He gets a pick onto the Monkey. They're going to walk in here. I think he might get the Ana here as well. They're going to engage onto the Ana. Ana explodes. And we hear the crowd erupt when that Ana goes down.
And that's going to be the fight win. They might be able to convert this into a second point if they're able to stuff this door, but now the ult's advantage has gone the other way. Nano and Bob are online. But he built that Bob really fast. Reminder, they used that ult around the same time that, or a single fight before the Primal came online. So that's like 80% in one fight equivalence.
Nano boost used first by Illinois Wesleyan onto the Monkey, but the Genji Ender is going in, taking a lot of pressure on the backline. Kuzuryu gets the Juno, and the Genji falls as well. This is really bad for Cleveland.
Yeah, they're going to have to reset after that one. Junior and Ryu1 are going to both be able to escape with their lives. Nobody's going to be able to go for a back cap opportunity here either. Look at this. You can see Surge just sitting on cart just in case anybody survived. Now coming into this next fight, only ultimate on the battlefield will be the Pulse Bomb. I anticipate Exo's going to be fishing for Muhiki with that one. Muhiki has been the primary target for Illinois Wesleyan in general. And Pulse Bomb able to shut down the Ray building for just another fight would be massive.
And we're seeing the backline for Cleveland State not quite able to rotate in. I think now that the high ground's cleared, they're going to be able to walk in. And that's Pulse Bomb onto Brig, an early pick for Exo there. Cleveland State's looking for a trade, but the hazard's just going to fall, and I think they have to reset here. Genji is behind enemy lines, and he does get a trade there, but I think Sojourn just gets killed there. Yeah, gets staggered. So that's a fight win there for Illinois Wesleyan. So far, have the clamp down here on this defense on second point.
Nothing can be done there from that position. Illinois Wesleyan have been an absolute fortress to try to break through. Second point route is, in general, a very difficult point to get through if you don't momentum your way through it, which is kind of how a lot of payload is balanced, right? It's just so difficult to break through once you've lost a single fight. Now, though, this is the situation where CSU, this is win or die. 34 seconds left on the bank. They have two of their best ultimates. If they aren't winning this, they aren't winning ever.
Yeah, I mean, the cards are set, and I Rule You gets picked first. Okay, the Ray gets popped to try and get a pick. Rain comes down. I think they're going to trade on the Monkey. No, they force Primal here, and Rally gets used by Sir. And the picks are coming through for Illinois Wesleyan. It's just the hazard left. He doesn't get a touch. I don't think you get overtime here for Cleveland State. I think this is done.
Illinois Wesleyan were just 2 steps ahead of Cleveland State that fight. I really won dropping immediately is just, it cannot, it's irrecoverable from that point. There's nothing that can be done once he falls. You can try to force a clutch. You can try to get something done, but when you're playing Sojourn Genji, you simply do not have the damage, even in Ray, to melt down a Primal Winston. A pause is coming through. This could be attack pause. It could be a tech pause. Seems as though it's going to be the latter.
The coaches are talking right now, as we can see.
Yeah.
We're going to see. I don't know exactly what this is about, but for now, yeah, the cards are set here in this third game. Cleveland State getting a fairly respectable push there, admittedly. Yeah. Full holding first point is not impossible. So that's, and even if you give up first point, that second point, if you can control that high ground, it's really, really difficult to push into that.
As we saw.
Yeah, as we saw, Cleveland State really struggling to break that high ground hold. And even when they did, they had to invest a lot of resources. And then Lucio! Boostio! We need to see a Boostio in this game. Anyways. But like we saw, even when Cleveland State was able to take that high ground control, they had to use a lot of resources. And then Illinois Wesleyan just went, okay, we'll use our own, and you can't do anything about that now that you've used your resources. So.
Yeah. Seems as though the pause was technical based on, I'm looking over at the producer monitor, and it seems as though I can't read it, partially because I have very bad vision, but also because it's just a little bit too far away. But it seems as though there's an actual chat message saying that there's a technical issue. So that seems to be what it is.
Yeah, I don't know how long this is going to take, so I think...
We have permission to send it to a VRI back, so that we will.
Alrighty, yeah. Don't go anywhere, guys.
We return now to your regularly scheduled program. Right there, you can see it. That's where the payload ended off at the Illinois, or the CSU rather, pushed the Illinois Wesleyan defense.
Yeah, the stage has been set, the win condition established, and we're going into the second round, second round here of this third map. We're going to see Cleveland State on the defense here, opting for a Winston dive. Pretty traditional dive comp other than the Sojourn.
I like this for defense when you're going to play Winston, Brig, Ana. This just feeds into what CSU wants to play really well. I'm surprised it's no Diva from Alizu. I feel like he's been playing more Diva than Winston, but he might have been trying to keep it under wraps a little bit. EXO currently hovering the Venture. I don't anticipate that to stay with Winston in particular. Even Widowmaker don't expect that to stay. Even Hanzo. There's a few character picks going on. But what they're going to do is, we saw it yesterday, they're going to sonar the train to see if anybody's spawn camping, and Wavy's just going to go for an early shot for ult charge, or a potential pick.
Which you're... Oh no, they Sonic the Winston.
360?
He's not going to stick on this, is he?
He may just.
I mean, he's clip farming, because to be fair, if you hit that, that's sick.
Well, if you hit that, it's a Winston, so he doesn't die.
Well, if you hit that on a squishy.
True. He's going to 360? Yep. Nobody's in LOS, really, and the bubble will block.
Alrighty, well, looks like we're probably... No, he's sticking on the Widowmaker. He seems to really believe in this.
Yeah, I really thought he was going to go back to spawn there when he doubled back, but not quite. EXO's going to find Junior early.
I mean, we're going to see a pretty traditional dive mirror here, and it looks like so far Illinois Wesleyan getting the better of Cleveland State.
Is it just me, or did you see Winston's body disappear after dying?
I did not see that, but I wasn't looking, so you could be not crazy. You might also be crazy.
I may just be a little insanic burn.
I mean, with how much Overwatch we've played, it's kind of a given.
It's an inevitability, to be sure. Kuzuryu drops real low, but will be kept alive by Mookie and Sir.
Yeah, we're going to see the Nano Boost come online for Mookie. I believe first ult on board, that's going to be thrown onto the Winston pretty early. The engage is a little bit off. We're going to see Anas get traded, and the Brig gets picked from Illinois Wesleyan. There's trades coming through, but it looks like it's going to favor Cleveland State here. Illinois Wesleyan's down both supports. And that's a really big pulse bomb there for EXO. Really big plays here. Potentially a clutch up here on this point. And it's just a Tracer 1v1.
Yeah, you can kind of see Kuzuryu's just kind of letting it happen. He's not going to impact this one too much, but now the team has reconvened and they don't want to stall this one out forever, so they're just going to finish things off. EXO, beautiful little one last clip.
That's Winston going in to try and deny a touch here. Looks like they're just going to cap, and this is a pretty quick cap here for Illinois Wesleyan. Unless Cleveland State is going to recontest, which they do try to. The monkey jumps in, doesn't quite build Primal in time. Ana gets taken out. Briggs probably going to follow soon, and Tracer's the only one left. Maybe we see a pulse, but I don't think so. I think Ender just leaves.
He recalled and used all of his blinks, so I'm actually shocked that he's getting out here. I thought he was surely dead. But a great first attack there for Illinois Wesleyan. Kuzuryu did have to use the Primal Rage at some point there. And Alizu now has access to his own, so this is looking like it can be a hold here. But again, the momentum going from first to second is so difficult to disrupt.
Yeah, we're going to see an early dive here from Alizu in the choke. Not quite finding anybody, but we see a lot of ults coming on board for Cleveland State. I think if they start an ult cycle here, they can shave a lot of time off of this time bank, but we'll see how they end up using their ults, because the Brig rally is the only thing on Illinois Wesleyan.
Yeah, pretty much. There will be a pulse bomb soon, but you know how much of an ultimate really is that? And I want to praise Mookie real quick. The bio nades rather have been exemplary from them, constantly hitting on the back line.
And we're going to see Nano Boost and Rally come out from both sides. The Brig currently alone on point. Pulse is whiffed by Ender. And that's 3 ults used here from both sides here. And so far, Illinois Wesleyan getting the better of it. EXO getting both supports almost in one clip. And Illinois Wesleyan is going to move this car forward.
Almost was there a wake up on the Winston, a chase down onto Ender. Is he going to be able to find EXO? The assassination there.
Big stagger onto Ender. That's going to make this next engagement all that more difficult for Cleveland.
Overclock online for Captain Junior gives them a shot to walk out here. Nothing for Illinois Wesleyan. They used everything to try to win that fight. They succeeded, but there is a chance here for Cleveland State. That point did go right up to the end pretty much. An early nade onto Kuzuryu might give you some space.
And we're going to see overclock from Captain Junior, but he gets purpled and taken out really quickly, packed up and sent home. We're going to see a sleep dart onto Kuzuryu and a very big bio onto the Brig and Winston. But the Ana is going to die for it, and the purple goes, and they don't touch.
They probably weren't winning that fight. Illinois Wesleyan's feeling it. They know that victory is within their grasp. They're on the precipice. That last few rocks to climb in order to reach the true end of this summit is on its way, and they know that it's coming.
Cleveland State, unfortunately, not beating the NA allegations, except instead of nearest airport, it's nearest automobile. They just want to get in the bus as soon as they can.
There's no reason for that. Look, man, I'm right here.
I'm sorry.
I'm right here.
Hey, look, my team, we speed ran the nearest automobile thing, okay? We went out in 10th. We speed ran that, okay?
Hey, you didn't really speed ran it. You did win one map against St. Xavier.
True. Which was a very silly map.
It's got to be somebody who speed ran it. I don't think anybody speed ran it. Maybe Manchester speed ran it.
Manchester beat us.
Yeah, but they speed. Well, it's not like beating you was going to delay their time any.
All right. I think I'm getting comms that we're going to go to a short break here. And when we come back, we'll let you know what the picks and bans are for this potentially final map of the series. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, everybody, we're back for this fourth and potentially final map of the series, Illinois Wesleyan against Cleveland State. I am Wub Waffles, and we got Ty Munster here. We're on the mics, and we got Fennec Fox for good luck. Woo! And yeah, so we are back. We had a quick 5-10 minute break, and we got word that the map is going to be New Junk City. That is not the right picture, but it's the right map. New Junk City, picked by Cleveland State. Yep. And we got a, remind me what the bands were?
So CSU go with the Ramatra ban, which I think makes sense because, you know, the Ramatra has really been stifling the Wrecking Ball play, but this signals to Illinois Wesleyan, yeah, we're still on ball, mate. And on the other side, Illinois Wesleyan, they've gone ahead and they have banned Juno. I've given it some thought. I was talking about this before we went back in. I don't know what this quite entails. Thinking about all of the compositional styles, I think that they want to get on top of Muhiki. I think they want to meddle with the Ana. They want to prevent them from going a flex support with more mobility, preventing them from going a character who can escape quite as easily. Could have been a Kiriko in that case. This tells me that they aren't going Hazard at the very least here for Illinois Wesleyan. This could also be a bit of a disrespect ban, like we don't care, we're just throwing in what we think is best. This could also, like, this tells me no to Hazard. It could be Doomfist. Doomfist actually can struggle with Juno, so that's a character on the table. It's not, like, for example, a Mauga rush dive type of style. I don't think Queen is what's going to be played here, because Queen is very much so enabled by Kiriko. You would have seen the Kiriko ban there from Illinois Wesleyan. Or not necessarily enabled by, but shut down by with that Suzu, right?
Yeah, so if you wanted to play the Queen, that would be a pretty typical target ban.
It is? Oh, okay.
Oh.
This actually makes a lot more sense. So there's 3 general styles of Mauga comp that have existed, one of which never saw real pro play because it got phased out pretty early, but it's still very good against an unprepared team. The first...
okay, we got sent back to lobby. Don't know exactly what's going on, but yeah, go ahead and continue saying what you were saying.
So the first style of Mauga is the classic, what we saw in the pro play back when that was a thing. Lucio, Kiri, Mauga. You usually see Soj Genji. Kind of like a Queen comp, just you put a Mauga in there. It kind of evolved. Venture was very good with it. You stopped seeing hit scan with it as much. You saw things like Pharah very good with it. Then you got the second style, which ended up being very popular when Juno came out. It was the Juno Brig Mauga variant, which that had a lot more Venture, that had the Genji, that had Sojourn. A lot of double flex DPS with that stuff. That's what Falcons won the OWCS finals with last year. Then this was the first variant that I saw in scrims when I was playing, because I was I was kind of at my peak, honestly, when Mauga came out.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's all been downhill since then. A really bad time to peak, actually. I peaked during Orisa Mauga meta. But Mauga Lucio Moira. It's the zombie comp. Lucio Moira, Sombra Reaper, Winston Diva was a composition in Overwatch 1, popularized primarily by Philadelphia Fusion for their excellent Reaper player and their excellent Sombra player. You play a brawl with the dive tanks because it gives them a great disengage tool. Winston can just jump out. Diva can DM the Winston if he gets hacked. Winston can bubble for the Diva. If she gets hacked, they can cover each other by spamming out a Sombra. And also, you just walk at people, you hack somebody, and you kill it. That's what the first style of scrimmed Mauga really was from what I saw. The Kiriko, I'm sure, had a lot of play early on as well. But the zombie comp was very popular early on with Mauga, so that's... The reason I kind of wrote it off is because it hasn't seen coordinated play in a long time. Like, it's been a scrim when Mauga came out comp, and something you kind of do to... This is going to sound rough, but something you do to bad teams. Something you do when you don't respect your opponent. That's the other usage of the Mauga zombie comp, is just walk somebody down. We're done playing. We want to end this. Run the zombie comp.
Interesting. I remember for a little bit there was, I think, a Queen variant of
Yes.
essentially this comp where it was like you shout with the Queen and Lucio speed and you just walk on somebody and die and kill them.
Yeah, every time there's a new brawl tank, we saw it a little bit with Hazard as well. You see the Mauga comp or the zombie comp with that character come out. It was most popular in Overwatch 2 with Ramatra. The Ramatra zombie comp actually saw some success. This is also possible. Reinhardt.
Please.
Might happen in the Lord's year.
I need my fatty shaddy for the day. Please, I need that. No. Okay. Well, looks like we're done seeing these character swaps, and we're going to see a Queen comp come out here for Illinois Wesleyan. Cleveland State opting to go with a Hazard.
I can't believe I just gave a lecture on Overwatch Mauga compositional history 101, and they end up going Junker Queen instead. I was actually excited to see zombie comp.
You're not going to give me a pop quiz on that afterwards, right?
You'll find out later.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, either way, we're going to see both teams sort of jockeying for this high ground. Nobody quite wanting to go to the point first, but Wavy gets Kiriko right off the bat, and Hazard's going to go in for a trade and just get melted. And that's going to be Illinois Wesleyan, once again, just taking this first fight. I hate... Oh, and that's a nice shot.
A really nice shot.
I hate to say it, but Cleveland State has not seen very many signs of life since that first map.
The hardest games to cast are never the ones that are close, where you have to expend energy. It's the ones where you have to find things to talk about.
Which is why we talked about Mauga comps for a good 3 minutes.
No, I just thought it was interesting. Like, that seemed like an interesting thing to talk about. But at this point, CSU have kind of been hitting their heads against the wall a little bit here. It's been so difficult for them to find anything at this point.
Yeah, and I know very well how this feels. It's hard to keep going, to keep trying, and there it's a repeat. Control-C, Control-V. Wavy takes out the Kiriko right at the start of the fight, and Illinois Wesleyan's just going to walk on to Cleveland State.
Yeah, there's nothing to be done from this point. This should be the first point sent away over to Illinois Wesleyan. They will, at the very least, have ultimates if they need to fight this any longer. Kitsune Rush, Sound Barrier. You have both support ults. It's what you like to see for the side of Illinois Wesleyan.
Yeah, and like, look, Illinois Wesleyan just charging their ult so much faster than Cleveland State is here. Hopefully Cleveland State is tracking this and they're going to be able to react, but...
I like what they just did, by the way. They are going for the gamble here. This is... So after the first point of Flashpoint, it's a 50-50 as to what's next. Or which side to go next, because it's 25% chance per point. CSU take the 50-50. They lean fully into it. They're just like, we're going to go next. And they win the 50-50, and yet they're still not here first.
Yeah, and that's really good, really well played for Illinois Wesleyan. And now Cleveland State's going to have to walk into this meat grinder. If Kitsune Rush beat Overclock, this is going to be really rough for Cleveland.
They do have some angle control here. They're waiting on Elysia to find an opportunity, and yeah, that's going to
they get the first pick onto the Queen. That's a really good first pick. Suzu gets used. Cleveland State opts to use Beat and just run Illinois Wesleyan down.
Beat was very low impact. They still haven't capped yet. Somebody needs to go back to do that. They will chase some of these kills down. That sound barrier was not very good. You really wanted to save that one for the future. And yeah, they don't cap. They get no reward off of that sound barrier. 0.
Yeah, I almost wish we would have seen some other ultimate used. And that's Overclock being popped by Junior. Clearly thinking he's going to be able to catch some of these players out. And they are going to get the queen, but they use Rain for that.
Yeah, they pop the downpour. They are really playing to win a fight now. The ultimate advantage is now really starting to come up for Illinois Wesleyan. What they're doing is they're trying to just out-tempo.
Yeah.
They're doing it without proper timing. I will say you need to go for that kind of play when you have 5 to run at the other team unexpectedly because you usually have time to set up like they're doing right now. This is where you would go in for CSU for things like what we just saw. But they're doing it desynced, which forces more ults to be used.
And that's Blade being used by Ender first. Gets a pick onto the Lucio. That's really big. There's no beat available for Illinois Wesleyan. And that might have been a fight-winning Blade. And crucially, too, EXO mirrors that Blade and gets very minimal value here.
That's a lot better. You know, it was a little late potentially, but they actually kind of had it at a perfect time. I thought it would be late, I mean. Really well timed there for CSU. They might be able to cycle and engage.
And that's Overclock being used by Wavy here just to try and get into the point. So far, not finding anybody. Illinois Wesleyan is going to get the touch, but Sir gets dropped. The hazard quickly gets traded, but yeah, no touch comes through. And Cleveland State gets a flashpoint. They might have done CPR during that 5-minute break that we had. Somebody got out the defibrillator because we're seeing signs of life from Cleveland State again.
I like that they're mixing things up. I don't love how they're doing it, but I do like that they are going for the mix-up. They're trying to catch Illinois Wesleyan off guard and really push themselves to show the full birth of a high elo Overwatch team. And that's what you want to see from Cleveland State at this position. They are going to be matching Illinois Wesleyan's pace onto Junkyard here.
Yeah, and we're going to see Cleveland State opt to take this high ground and Illinois Wesleyan take the other. I really think Illinois Wesleyan got the better positioning because you just have so little natural cover over there for Cleveland State. Kitsune Rush gets popped first by Cleveland State just to try and cap the point. And Illinois Wesleyan's going to disengage. They use Beat, though, to re-engage here, but the point has already been capped for Cleveland State.
They got the downpour. They're immediately going to pop it into the Kitsune Rush. There's no Suzu to block it. Say goodbye to your main support, but CSU, they're going to drop 2 simultaneous.
Yeah, double support ult being used by Illinois Wesleyan. It does get them the fight win, but I don't know if that's the greatest of ideas because Cleveland State is going to have Beat here. So if Illinois Wesleyan does do something here to Cleveland State on the walk-in, the Lucio's just going to be able to beat, and it's a get-out-of-jail-free card for a couple seconds.
Yeah, and you say it's not ideal, it's usually not, but it was a 2-for-2 on ultimates. Alizu did use the downpour, and you win the fight. It doesn't matter that you use 2 support ultimates, you would have loved to save 1, yes, but you're not winning the fight if you don't pop 2. It's fair. A necessity.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was quite necessary for them to win that, or for them to use 2 to win that fight, but
I at least think it was.
I will trust your judgment. Anyways, Captain Junior going in quickly with Overclock. The Lucio falling very low, but I Rule You gets taken out. That's the only other ult that Cleveland State has. Ender falls shortly afterwards, and that's Kuzuryu using Rampage there, and that's going to be a clean fight win for Illinois Wesleyan, and that's going to be the point.
Match point now on New Queen Street, I should say. Or no, New Junk City.
Junk City.
I'm tripped up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long weekend.
But yeah, it is now match point, map point, series point, tournament point on the line now for Illinois Wesleyan. If they can win this one out, they will have completed a true, unbeatable golden stage. I'm tempted to call it a diamond stage.
I think that's being real generous to diamond players like myself. Either way, we're going to see EXO engaging quickly with Blade. Beat immediately gets popped as a response, but the Lucio still dies. The Suzu's a little bit too late. Blade gets popped by Ender. Gets both supports getting traded out. It's even.
CSU disadvantage here without their supports. They're not going to have any sustain. They need to find trades here
Alizu crucially gets that Lucio pick, gets traded out, but this might secure point. I think Kuzuryu is going to be forced out.
No, there's still a support on the battlefield. I think there should be at the very least. Kuzuryu dropping real low. CSU.
Suzu.
They're pushing them away, and they do have more presence than you would expect. Kitsune Rush now on both sides.
Yeah, Kitsune Rush gets popped by both, but it looks like Illinois Wesleyan's going to get the better of this. Gets both supports picked off immediately, followed by the Genji. And I think Cleveland State has to just die here. Just go, GG, go again.
I like the attempt there, but if somehow Muhiki was able to save his ultimate for that fight, that would have sent CSU into a good parameter on this next fight. Kitsune and Downpour into the beat is not the worst place to be at all. However, Sound Barrier against only the Downpour means that Sir is prime target #1 for Cleveland State University. If they don't get the Lucio, they don't win the fight, they don't win the map, the series is over.
Yeah, so let's see what happens. Both teams are most likely going to be aware of this, and we're going to see Rain get used first. That's going to go onto the Queen. B gets used in response, and Rain, the Rain goes down the drain, I suppose. EXO gets a trade onto Ender, his opposite on the other team. Captain Jr. is going to pop Overclock to try and turn this fight. Doesn't quite get one. I Rule You gets picked. Captain Jr. gets picked. The Kiriko gets picked, and it's just the Hazard. And he's almost certainly going to die here. Can he get a trade though? He attempts to.
And there's only 94% left. Nobody else to touch. Here comes Ender, the lone soldier. The lone soldier. He's forced back. The recall force. He doesn't have any blinks. He's got to find another opportunity to touch. He barely got on. The wick burned down.
That Suzu drop 2. That's going to be go time for Ryu. My goodness. Okay, it's looking bad for Cleveland State is the point. And with this, the door is shutting. Ball on the last stand on point. Overtime wick ticks down, and that's Illinois Wesleyan taking it 4-0 in a true golden stage.
All the way there. They went all the way. Nothing could stand in their way. 0 maps in regular season, 0 maps in playoffs. Is there a darn soul alive who can challenge this team? Yes, but not here. Not today. Not anytime soon in the Great Lakes.
Yeah, and very well done from Illinois Wesleyan, winning the GLEC Overwatch 2025. And this finals 4-0.
Yes, it was 3-1.
Making sure that all the stream graphics are correct, but yeah, I mean, there's not much left to say about that. It was just a pretty dominant shutout. I mean, even looking at the scoreline here, they barely dropped any points. 3 points conceded the whole series in a grand finals is criminal.
What I will say is that Illinois Wesleyan is oftentimes one of those teams who will find a way to qualify for things like CECC no matter what. I say they're top 32. Maybe I'm wrong, because I think our school is a competitor for the top 50, maybe top 64, and that was an absolute blowout. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe Illinois Wesleyan are top 16. I apologize to the disrespect, or for the disrespect. I bow, ye sir. But Illinois Wesleyan are a team who always finds their way in those national championships, and this just so happened to be their way this time. They found their way, bullied GLEC into submission, and ended up being the grand champions for the Great Lakes Esports Conference Overwatch.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have anything else to say. That was not the most entertaining of matches, but definitely a spectacle.
Yeah. Good fight here and there from CSU. They showed some great signs of life, some great macro play at times, some great micro play from some of their players. Unfortunately, it just looked like Illinois Wesleyan was a little bit too much for them at the end of the day.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to add. Do you?
I don't think so. So I think that's going to be it for the night.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it from us and from me, and I'm sure everybody else here involved in broadcasting. Thank you all for watching so much. It means a lot to us that you spend time watching our broadcast here, listening to us ramble on about Mauga zombie comps and whatnot. So, but I think that's going to be it from us over here on broadcast.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for supporting these teams. Congratulations, Shawnee State. Congratulations, Manchester. And congratulations to Illinois Wesleyan for winning your respective games. And have a wonderful rest of your night, everybody else.
Farewell.